Hey all, welcome to Homeschool, and this is our session number 9 on a chapter Light, Reflection and Refraction. See, yesterday we started with refraction. We got to know a detailed meaning about refraction, right? And two important aspects we studied about refraction. Okay, let us try to revise that now. And later we will go for refraction through a rectangular glass slab. See, learning refraction through a rectangular glass slab, we will come to know more things about refraction. Okay, so before that, let us revise whatever we have studied in our last class. See, what we studied was, say for example, if this is a rarer medium, right, and this is a denser medium, when a light ray is incident from a rarer medium and it has struck on the surface of a denser medium, what happens if this is your normal, this is the normal, light ray, instead of going in this direction, okay, it will slightly bend towards normal, right? And this is our angle of incidence and this is our angle of refraction. So because of the change in the speed of light, direction of light also changes. If its original direction is this, it doesn't move in this direction. Since it's a denser one, the bending takes place towards the normal. Okay, so what happens here? Refracted ray, okay, bends towards normal, right? So this is the point that you have to remember. And one more case we have studied, what is that? If this is a denser medium and if this is a rarer medium, right? And when incident ray comes obliquely, when it strikes at a point on a rarer medium surface, what happens if this is a normal, this is the original path of light, what happens? This particular ray bends away from the normal, right? This is our angle of incidence and this is our angle of refraction, right? And what happened here? Refracted ray bends away, it goes away from normal when the light was traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. When light was traveling from rarer medium to denser medium, light refracted ray moved towards the normal. Here, refracted ray moved away from the normal. Okay, keep these points in your mind. Fix these points in your mind very, very, very strongly, guys. Okay, and now coming to refraction through a rectangular glass slab. The same thing we are studying at the same time with, a same material actually. So I am taking a rectangular glass slab. This is a glass slab. Okay, and I will name this. This is A, B, C, D, sides of the rectangular glass slab. Okay, and let me write the points side by side. Okay, so rectangular glass slab, okay, we have in front of us, and A, B, C, D. Okay, I name the sides A, B, C, D. And an incident ray I will take, and here it is a medium air. Air is always a rarer medium. Okay, and this is a medium glass. Glass is always a denser medium. Yes or no? Rarer medium in the sense light travels very fastly. Denser medium, the speed of light is slow. Yeah, and again here below the slab, this area is also air, right? Again a rarer medium you have here. Okay, fine. And now incident ray, EF. Okay, EF is incident ray. Incident ray I am calling with EF. Okay, hitting. It is hitting at point O. It is hitting at point O. So this is my EF, incident ray. Okay, where is it hitting on a glass slab? At a point O. Okay, so this I will call it as O. Fine. And how does it bend, guys? How do you show the bending? This is a normal N dash. N dash is a normal. Okay, say rarer medium, denser medium. Light is entering, the ray is entering from rarer medium to denser medium. Whenever light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, refracted ray bends towards a normal. Say if this is a original path, this is a original path, this is how we normally expect a light ray to go. But this is a separate medium, this is a separate medium. So light ray will not go in an expected path. It will bend. But how does it bend? It will bend towards a normal. Right? So this is my R1. Okay. So what happens? R1 is the refracted ray bending. Bending where? Towards the normal, right? Fine. And here, what actually happens here? This is the angle of incidence I1. This is angle of refraction R1. You can able to make out, right? This is our R1 angle of refraction. This is our I1 angle of incidence. So what I can write here? Angle of incidence actually here is greater than angle of refraction. Yes or no? Always whenever light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, what happens? Angle of incidence is always greater than angle of refraction, because the light ray is bending towards a normal. This angle decreases very less compared to this. So what I wrote? Angle of incidence is greater than angle of refraction. Okay, and now I consider this refracted ray. The moment it reaches here, again its direction changes, no? Yes or no? You see here, the moment this refracted ray reaches at this surface, CD surface, what happens? The medium is changed. It is entering from denser medium to rarer medium. So what happens? Say if I draw this as a normal, here M dash is a normal here. So what happens here? The ray will start moving like this. The ray moves away from the normal. And this ray, I will call it as emergent ray. Understood this concept here? The moment this refracted ray R1 reaches at this point, what happens? Its direction should go like this, but it will not go like this. It will not go like this, guys. Since again the medium is changing. Now this refracted ray, this particular ray is entering from denser medium to rarer medium, no? So if this is your normal, the ray moves away. It moves away from the normal. Okay, and now this angle is called I2 and this angle I will call it as R2. Okay, let me write the points now. When R2 ray strikes at a point O dash. Okay, let me strike. It is striking at this point. No, let me call this point as O dash. Say this point of striking I called as O. No, this point of striking I call it as O dash. When R2 ray strikes at a point O dash, what's happening, guys? The ray that comes out into, this ray is coming out into which medium? Rarer medium. Coming out into a rarer medium moves away from normal. And it is called and it is called emergent ray. Very important. It is called emergent ray. It is not called as second refracted ray. It is actually second refracted ray. That second refracted ray only we will call with a new scientific term, that is emergent ray. Okay. So now here what happens, guys? Angle of I2. Okay, now here this angle I2 is actually what happens? Smaller than R2, because the emergent ray is moving away from the normal, right? So this angle is greater than this angle. Okay, so whenever light travels from denser medium to rarer medium, see, angle of refraction is always greater than angle of incidence, right? So I wrote it as I2 is smaller than angle R2. And observe one more important thing here, guys. The incident ray and the direction of emergent ray are parallel to each other. Yes or no? See, this is the direction of incident ray. This is the direction of emergent ray. You see, their direction is parallel to each other. Can you tell me why they are parallel? Apply little of mathematics here. Just pause the video and try to think why these two lines, these two directions are parallel to each other. Let me write the point. While I write the point, just try to think what may be the reason for parallel. Okay, what I'll write? Incident ray is parallel. It is parallel to the direction of emergent ray. Okay. Can you tell me why? Do you know something like exterior angles? Two exterior alternative angles. Exterior alternative angles are always equal, right? You see here, the angle between this incident ray and this normal. What is that angle? Angle I1. Okay, and observe this angle. Angle between normal and this one. Which is this angle? R2. You know, this I1, angle I1 is actually equal to angle R2. Understood? Why they are equal? Can you tell me why they are equal? You see, they are alternative exterior angles. Yes, exterior angle. This is also exterior angles, but alternative to each other. If you want to know more things about alternative exterior angles, you can ask your maths teacher. Okay, so here the concept is I1 and R2. These angles are actually alternative exterior angles. That's the reason I1 is always equal to angle R2. Angle I1 equal to angle R2. Okay, when this angle is equal to this angle, the extent of bending this incident ray at point O, this is how the incident ray bent like this. This extent of bending is equal to extent of bending the R2 refracted ray at point O is also equal, no? When this angle is equal to this angle, you know what happens? The extent of bending incident ray at point O is equal to the extent of bending refracted ray at point O dash. Bending took place at point O in AB side. Here bending took place at point O dash in CD side. Here how much ever bending took place, the same amount of bending took place here also. Okay, that is the reason incident ray is parallel to the emergent ray. That is the reason, since they have same amount of bending at both O and O dash, you got your angle I1 equal to angle R2. Mathematically, they are alternative exterior angles. That way also we can say these two angles equal. These two angles equals in the sense extent of of bending in both the cases is equal, right? That is the reason your incident ray is parallel to the direction of emergent ray. Understood the concept? So why it is parallel? What is the answer for that? The extent of bending at what point? At O is equal to extent of bending of light at point O dash. Okay, so that's the reason we say incident ray and emergent ray are parallel. This is a very important point to be noted, guys. Okay, and actually speaking, say this ray, if it has to follow the same direction, like this it should go into the glass slab, and like this it should come out, right? But it's not going that way. Since your medium has changed, one bend took place. Again, when it is going out, medium changing, another bend took place. So after these two bends, you see the original path has to be like this, and the real path is something like this. Okay, so you can see the change in the path of expected and real. This is a real, really it bends. So this is how the real path, and this is our imaginary expected path. There is a difference. Okay, and these are the things that you have to observe from refraction through a rectangular glass slab. Okay, so one thing, from here to here, rarer medium to denser medium it's entering, so refracted ray is moving towards normal. Again, from here to here, when it is going, it's going from denser to rarer, so refracted ray is going away. This second refracted ray we will call with a new term, that is emergent ray. And what is important is incident ray and emergent ray directions are parallel to each other. It's because, you know, this are alternative exterior angles, they are equal in the sense how much ever bending taking place at O is equal to the bending that is taking place at O dash. That's the reason these two rays are actually parallel. Okay, so that's all about the concept. Now we will study the laws of refraction. Guys, do you remember the laws of reflection? What was the first law? First law is nothing but angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. This was the first law. Can you recall the second law? What is the second law? Incident ray, reflected ray and normal lie in a same plane. Okay, so the second law is the first law in case of refraction. So what I can write here is incident ray, right? Incident ray, refracted ray and normal. Okay, all these lie, they are placed in a same plane. Okay, so one point is very easy. This point was actually the second point in case of laws of reflection. Now there reflected ray, but here refracted ray. Okay, so what is our first law? Incident ray, refracted ray, normal, all of them stay in a same plane. Okay, that is our first point. Listen to the second point. This is very important, guys. Say second point is nothing but sine I divided by sine R is equal to constant for a given pair of media. For a given pair of media. What do you mean by this point? This looks very different, guys. And how did a mathematical application come here? Trigonometry. You are familiar with the trigonometry, sine function, right? So what I am calling it as sine I. This is the angle. Sine of angle of incidence divided by sine of angle of refraction is equal to constant. Actually speaking, why did I introduce the sine here? Okay, I can call it as angle of incidence divided by angle of refraction is equal to constant. Okay, but why did I included sine? That story I will tell you. Later I will tell how this ratio is constant. Okay, first I'll tell you why we have called sine I and sine R instead of angle I, angle R. Why I have introduced a trigonometric function. This is what I'm explaining you now. Okay, after that we will discuss the meaning of this, why the ratio of sine I and sine R is constant. Understood, no? Fine. And you see here, actually, angle of incidence, this particular angle, how much angle it has to make, depends on speed of light in this medium. Yes or no? It depends on, let this be medium 1, let this be medium 2. Okay, let the speed of light in this medium is V1, speed of light in this medium is V2. Always, whatever angle that is forming here depends on the speed of light. Yes or no? Here also, whatever the angle that is forming here depends on the speed of light. Just because the speed is changing, the line is bending, the ray is bending, so the angle is forming. So the angle formed here are completely dependent on speed of light in both the mediums. Okay, so here angle I completely depends on speed of light of medium 1. So I can give a formula here, angle I divided by angle R is equal to V1 by V2. Okay, what is V1 guys? Speed of light in medium 1. Speed of light in medium 1. And here V2 is nothing but speed of light in medium 2. Imagine speed of light in medium 2, I have given a value 2.5 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. Okay, speed of light in medium 1, I don't know, I have to calculate. Whereas I know the angle I. Imagine the angle I is 60 degree and angle R is 30 degree. Imagine. Okay, so substitute the value. Angle I is 60 degree, angle R is 30 degree is equal to V1, I don't know, I have to find out, divided by V2 I gave you, that is 2.5 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. So how do you calculate this guys? How do you calculate this? Say ones are twos are, that is 2 degree, right? So will you calculate like this? 2 degrees into 2.5 into 10 to the power of 8 is equal to V1. Can you calculate, can you multiply anything in degrees with this? You can't calculate, right? So you can't calculate something in degrees with another number. Either it may be a multiplication, addition, subtraction, or whatever it is. Degrees thing has to be calculated with degrees only. Yes or no? Say this is a whole numerical number, but this is in degrees, right? This calculations are highly impossible. Okay, that is the reason they have introduced a trigonometric function called sine. Okay, say ma'am, why only sine, why not cos, tan, cosec? You can introduce, no doubt. But, the person who has done research on this, we call him as Snell. Snell is the person who has introduced this concept, actually laws of refraction. And this person considered sine. Okay, say now the moment I introduce sine here, see what happens, how we can calculate. Okay, I'll show it here. So sine of 60 degree, that means sine 60. Okay, this becomes sine 60 divided by sine 30. Okay, is equal to V1 is what I want to calculate, question mark, divided by V2 is what? Value is there 2.5 into 10 to the power of 8. Okay, so sine 60, sine 30 values right? Sine 60 is how much? Root 3 by 2. Sine 30 is how much? 1 by 2. See, now it is not in degrees, it's in a number, right? Now V1 can be calculated easily because all numbers only, right? Say to make the calculations easy, okay, with the formula, if we keep them as degrees, calculations are not possible. That's the reason, to make the calculations comfortable and easy, we introduced a trigonometric operation, that is sine. Okay, so that's how it has become sin I divided by sin R. Okay, and now let me explain the meaning of this particular, how the ratio of sin I and sin R is constant. What is this constant mean? All that we will see. Okay, just all this is not necessary to remember, guys. Just I wanted to tell you why the trigonometric operation sine has come here. Just to make our calculations easy, this trigonometric operation we have considered. Okay, say to make you understand that, I have given this information. This is actually an extra information which is not necessary for you to remember. Okay, this is only for your knowledge. Okay. See, now coming to the meaning of this particular point. See here, if an incident ray hits at this point, this is what the angle, like imagine this is a 60 degree and this is a 30 degree. Say what happens here, sine 60 divided by sine 30, I would be getting some answer, right? Let the answer be x. Okay, let the answer be x. Okay, I'm not calculating it. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. Sine 30 is 1 by 2. If you put, you get some answer. Okay, that's not important now. Let me call that answer as x. Okay, and now another situation. Okay, let me take, this is air. Let me take a fixed media. This is water. Okay, here also this is air. This is water only. Okay, and now let the incident ray hit like this. Okay, and this is our normal, and as the angle of incident ray changes, angle of refraction changes. Okay, here you see the incident ray. It is not very much slant, it is slightly slant. But here I took the incident ray very much slant. Okay, now let this angle be 90 degree, let this angle be 45 degrees. Okay, now if you calculate sine 90 by sine 45, luckily you get the same answer. Here you will not get some other digit. Why? You will get the same digit x. Okay, I'll take another situation. Okay, another situation, let me slant the incident ray much more. This is our normal and this is our refracted ray. This is our angle of incidence, this is our angle of refraction. When I calculate sine I by sine R, let it be some angle, this be some angle, whatever. When I calculate here also, I will get x. See, at whatever angle maybe the incident ray hits, you will get the ratio of sine I by sine R, you will get the answer same. Whatever angle the incident ray makes, okay, say this particular ratio always remains constant, because constant in the sense what? In this case, it's not very much slant, but then you got x. Here slightly slant, angle changed. This angle is different, this angle is different now. But still you have got what? X value. Here the angle has changed, but still you have got the x value. Okay, when does this occur? As long as you maintain the same media. Here if you maintain air water, here also you should maintain air water, here also you should maintain air and water media. Okay, see, now you read out for a given pair of media. Okay, whether you change at whatever angle you change the incident ray, always the ratio of sine of angle I to the sine of angle R is always remains constant. Okay, so this is what we will call it as Snell's law. Okay, so this particular concept we will call it as Snell's law. And now let us try to define that Snell's law. Okay, and remember, once again I am reminding you, as long as the media is same, okay, you take any incident ray at any angle. According to that, the angle of refracted ray also changes, but their ratios will always be equal to one constant number. That's why we say sine I divided by sine R is equal to constant. Okay, now the definition, actual definition for Snell's law we are writing. The ratio of sine of angle of incidence, okay, note it down, angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is constant, okay, for a given pair of media, Clear? This is what we mean by Snell's law. And actually speaking, this constant is there, no? This constant can also be called with the name refractive index. Always constants have, whichever constants you take in whichever equation, they were given with a special name, right? Say for example, Ohm's law, we have written V is directly proportional to I. To remove this, we have introduced a constant R. So this constant R was called as resistance. Yes or no? Same way we have another constant, resistivity. Every constant actually has certain meaning. Okay, and the constants were given with a special name, right? So here, this constant we will call with the name refractive index. Okay, and about the refractive index, we will study in detail in the next video. Till then, keep this much concept in your mind, keep revising a concept, and if you have any doubts, you can post it in the comments. I'll try to help you out. And do subscribe our channel to learn the concepts in a easiest way and in a detailed way. Thank you so much.